Hello, Algebra students of Pasco High. This is Mr. Montes again. We have another lesson for the week. This week, just like the previous weeks, and staying with the theme, we have the lesson in two parts. We have what we call Staying Sharp, which is a worksheet for you all to stay on top of those skills that you learned while in school. This Staying Sharp looks a little bit different than it did the last 2 weeks. This time, we do ask some more conceptual questions. We really wanted to emphasize this week graphs, since the conceptual task that we're going to have you all do this week has to do with graphs. So we got a graph here on the first part, just a couple of questions of things that we learned throughout the year, as well as like coming up with an equation, interpreting the slope, independent, dependent variable, and that type of stuff. We also, in addition to that, have some just regular old practice problems, solving some inequalities, looking at some systems, solving an equation, and so forth. We do have a answer key for this week. It's going to be on a different sheet in a different file. It's called Lesson 3 Review Solutions. We have the solutions to this. It's posted on here. It's for you all to take a look at and make sure that you guys are doing the problems the correct way. All right. So I'm going to go over and we're going to look at the task for the week. The theme for the last several weeks, if you haven't noticed, is we're kind of sticking to not teaching new material, because that would be not difficult. We just wanted to emphasize the concepts that we've already learned and build upon those concepts to make things a little bit more application type, more task oriented. So this week's task is called 2 storage tanks. So I'll just read this directions to you here. It says 2 large storage tanks, T and W, contain water. T starts losing water at the same time additional water starts flowing into W. The graph below shows the amount of water in each tank over a period of time. So we have a graph here. Along the x-axis, we have number of hours. Along the y-axis, we have gallons of water. We have 2 graphs here, for one for tank T and one for tank W. Tank W is increasing as the number of hours increases, so this is the one that's gaining water. Tank T is the graph of tank T is decreasing as the number of hours increase, which means this one's losing water. And just based off visually, looking at it visually, we can tell that tank T is actually losing water faster than tank W, just based on the fact that this has this slope of this one seems to be greater than this one if we look at it in terms of absolute value of slope. But in any case, that's the kind of stuff that you all will be looking at today in this assignment. Number 1 is going to ask you to take a look at when the 2 tanks will contain the same amount of water, and to explain your response. It does say that the trends are going to continue, as in the tank W, whatever the rate is that it's we're adding water to tank W, it's just going to stay the same. So these are both going to be linear graphs. So tank T is going to lose water at the same rate over the course of this time. Number 2, write an equation for each storage tank that can be used to determine the amount of water in the tank at any given number of hours. We would like you guys to go ahead and use some of those skills that you learned in the lesson, in the Staying Sharp, which we want you to do first, and then apply those skills here into on this task that we've given you. Number 3, how are the 2 equations the same, and how are they different? We're just asking you to compare and contrast the 2 equations. Again, we're dealing with linear equations, so there's a lot of similarities, but there's also some pretty big differences. Number 4, suppose tank Z contains 550 gallons of water and is not gaining or losing water. When will tank Z contain the same amount of water as tank T, as tank W? Will all 3 tanks ever contain the same amount of water at the same time? Explain. So this one's a little bit more of an involved question. We anticipate you being able to do questions 1, 2, and 3 pretty easily, just based off the stuff that we covered in class. And number 4 kind of takes it up to the next level. We've looked at 2 lines crossing. I don't know that we ever actually looked at 3 lines crossing, and if they can cross at the same point. and what conditions have to happen for them to do that. So just go ahead and work on this problem, these two parts. Again, the two storage tanks tasks, as well as the staying sharp. And that'll be the lesson for the week. As always, if you have questions, if you have concerns as a parent or as a student, just email your teacher. We're checking our emails at least once a day, and they should get back to you. If you finish the assignment and would like some feedback, again, email one of the algebra teachers your paper, and they'd probably be more than happy to get you some feedback on that. If you are doing these assignments, we do recommend that you print them off or save them somewhere so that you can keep them. And then as far as turning them in at some point, we'll let you know what the school district decides in the next couple of weeks. In any case, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.